What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nanifia Scala. Today we are back again with a video from Charlie Kirk. So today Charlie Kirk triggers climate change radical. So guys, without further ado, let's get started.
Hi, Mr. Kirk. I think climate change is a much more serious issue than the conservative movement gives it credit for. And so my question is, what common ground can we find regarding climate action, and how can we get more conservatives in on the movement? What can we find that we agree on?
Cool. I just want to make sure I understand where you're coming from, and this is not a trick question. Can you define what you mean by climate change?
Primarily reducing carbon emissions and other greenhouse gases.
Got it. So is your argument that rising global temperatures are tied to carbon emissions?
To my understanding, the scientific consensus is quite solid on that, yes.
Got it. Okay. So, again, not a trick question. What is carbon? It's not a trick question.
Okay. It's an element.
Yeah, right.
And carbon dioxide traps heat in the atmosphere.
Right.
So,
So carbon is life, right? So carbon, yeah, exactly. You can't have life without
I've heard this before, though, and the
Yeah,
idea that carbon is plant food is great, but the reality is when there's 40 billion tons being emitted a year by a network of global factories and global tailpipes, that absolutely has an impact on climate. And
Right,
I'm
so-
disappointed that this is the reaction
Well, hold
to
on.
the question, honestly, because I don't know how you all, we're in an agricultural area, we're seeing it worse every year. It's getting
Well, hold on,
bad,
let me ask
and
a question.
I don't know why conservative movement insists on resisting the scientific
Well, I'm not resisting.
consensus
I'm
on this.
asking what carbon is. Okay, so let's make sure we're clear on what I'm saying. Do you think there could be other explanations as to why global temperatures are rising,
Yes.
such as?
They've studied them, and it's not due to anything other than the emissions, to my
Okay, so
understanding.
not solar flares, global tilt.
Well, they've accounted for those, and they've found out that those are not the main drivers of the climate change that we're seeing.
Okay, so you trust, I just want to make sure I understand, you trust consensus from scientists that put forward reports?
No, I trust ExxonMobil's own scientists who found this out in the 1980s and hid the findings for decades so that they wouldn't lose money.
Right. So excuse me, just as a kind of side note, I'm unbelievably skeptical when I hear scientists say, but let's pretend you're right. Okay, let's pretend that climate change is an existential threat. Would that be something that you say?
To our existence, to the human species, probably not. I imagine the
Okay.
rich will always find an ark to live in while the rest of us have our crops fail.
You have some nuance, so that's fair. So let's talk then about, let's pretend you're right. Let's say that there's some solutions. What would be a solution? Should we get rid of fossil fuels?
You know, if we could just filter out it's the carbon that's doing it. So I don't know about
Well, no,
getting off
you're
of fossil fuels, but if we could
see,
find
that's why I
a way
asked
to
about your
filter out the
premise.
carbon.
The amount of certainty you have in a planet that is so massive with such unbelievable biodiversity to immediately act that we, the humans, are the only reason that global temperatures might be going up, I think is a flawed hypothesis. Because if you're wrong, then we might try to find a solution that actually might be more about private property confiscation and wealth deterioration, aka Marxism, not actually solving the problem. That's why I challenge the hypothesis, is what else might be contributing to it. So let's just ask some very basic questions. So if carbon is the problem, would you support planting 1 trillion trees?
Yes.
Okay, good. We agree. So that
Sequestering
wouldn't.
carbon is part of the solution. I think there's a broader set of solutions than what the Democratic Party specifically has been bringing to the table. But again, this resistance by the conservatives to just
So let me
not
ask you,
acknowledge that this carbon is an issue.
why do you think
Very
why do you think we ask questions? Because we're dumb, or why do you think?
Skepticism with good reason.
Okay, good. No,
Yeah.
okay,
But
good.
at some point, when in looking for the answer, you need to acknowledge that the answer can be found, and the answer has been found. People have spent their lives and careers studying this for decades. It's been over 100 years ago since people were first talking about the idea that carbon was trapping heat. So this is not a new idea.
Do you have any fear that the solution might be worse than the problem?
What solution? Sure, some, yeah.
Like, for
But I'd like
example,
to broaden-
mandatory electric vehicles?
Oh, no, electrical vehicles will mine the ocean to death before we get everyone an electric car. It's not a solution.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's also, cobalt's really, really bad for the environment.
Yeah, we need to go car-free and build walkable communities again, actually.
No, that's a very bad idea. See, now we're getting somewhere, okay? Bad idea.
Cap-free.
Cars are freedom, right? Without a vehicle, you are a captive of the government in an open-air prison, right?
You know, right?
And so, just look at San
No,
Francisco.
it just means you can walk to the grocery store without needing a vehicle.
Oh,
Right. That's a 15-minute city model. But no,
Yeah.
this is important, and we're not going to find...
I've been studying architecture for 4 years. I've been studying a little bit of urbanism too.
Right.
It's not taking away your freedoms, the fact that you get to go to a grocery store and a library and a coffee store within a 15-minute walk, folks.
Okay.
That's actually independence from the automobile. But that's
Well,
aside,
let me.
so.
Independence is being able to go where you want to go when you want to go there. That's
Yeah.
what independence is.
Yeah.
But let me
So
just let me.
being
We're
stuck
not
in
going to
traffic
find.
then?
Here's the one thing that I want to make sure. I don't get this from you because you're coming at it from a good place. The panic over climate becomes such a priority by people that also have the solution in mind. I'm not saying it's you, right?
It's fair.
And
That's
so
fair.
we have a built-in healthy skepticism over the last decade that we are being constantly lied to by the same amount of cabal of criminals, and at the very least, exaggerating the threat, okay? Exaggerating the threat, where we are told we must take our freedoms and liberties away, we must reconfigure our life. And I'll be very honest with you, that with all of the pressing challenges that face humanity, like the most suicidal generation in history, the most drug-addicted generation in history, the most alcohol-addicted generation in history, the fixation on an abstraction of rising global temperatures is an academic distraction from real material suffering that people have when the activists, not necessarily you, but the loudest activists, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Bernie Sanders, they want to get rid of fossil fuels, they want to disenfranchise millions of people of work, and they want to basically put the entire grid in an unrealistic solar, wind, and turbine type model.
Mr. Kirk, you sound so much like the liberal coastal elites that you rail against, because the reality is the first year that my family bought cows, 2012, we had a record-breaking drought, and hay had to be trucked in from Oklahoma or Texas. The following spring, it rained so hard and so much it broke records, and the bridges washed out, and my mother couldn't get to work. So this is very much a real
Well,
issue.
let me ask you,
We're
in
an
the last
agricultural
50 years,
region.
have there been irregular weather patterns in the 60s, 70s, or 80s? Yes. I would just close with this. You could talk to any rancher or farmer here in Missouri.
They're waking up to
Unpredictability
it.
is part of the agrarian lifestyle. To act as
Yeah.
if you could perfectly model it, and but here's the one thing about climate change that drives me crazy, and I'll just close with this, is that no matter what happens, it gets warmer, it's climate change, it gets colder, it's climate change, it's a tornado, it's climate change, it's sunny, it's climate change. It's the one thing that confirms the hypothesis regardless of the result. And so it's the perfect thing to argue for. You might be right. I don't think you are, that rising global temperatures are necessarily tied to human activity. But every solution I hear, every solution would obliterate the American economy and destroy our ability to use our greatest asset, with is fossil fuels, natural gas, liquid natural gas, and oil. Thank you so much. I got to get to the next question. Thank you.
I mean, this is actually a good debate. This is actually a good topic that we don't normally talk about it, but it's our environment, and the environment is life, you know. So talking about climate change, it's a very interesting and a great topic to really talk about always, you know. We always don't really talk much about it, because carbon, the rate at which this ozone layer, the climate is changing, is really rapid. I don't know for your side of your country where you live, do you also experience this with the climate changes? For us, our ozone layer is pretty bad, you know. It's pretty bad. It's like you wake up in the morning around 6 a.m. and the sun is sunny, like the sun is like so harsh and hot. And I always say our ozone layer is gone. And let's talk about let's talk about him. He said the best way so that we could the solution for this carbon limitation of this carbon, you know, is to go car free. Really? Really, car free? You know, you can walk from here to your grocery shop. I mean, because some 15 minutes, as Charlie said, it could be like 20 minutes, 10 minutes walk. But what about your work? What about, are you going to walk to work to? Are you going to walk to the hospital? Are you going to walk to school? You know, some solutions is like this. It's like a problem. So for that, I don't really agree with him. How can we go? Car is freedom. Car is independency. You know, it's like a damn solution. You can't solve a problem with a problem. You know, that's not how it works. If you want us to reduce this carbon emissions from the environment or from the atmosphere, I'm not sure going car-free is the best solution. Because imagine yourself without car. You just imagine yourself without car. I mean, taking the bus to school, taking the train to school, taking car to the hospital, it's going to be it's going to be a problem than a solution, like far worse problem than the solution. So I think let me speak about my side of the country. I always learn something, and I always learn it in my view, not Charlie's view, or not the view of these people. I always learn in my side of this thing. Our ozone layer is bad. Our weather, climate change is like it changes every year, and it's like it's becoming worse upon worse. It got to a time we started doing this planting of tree activity. Where I think every day you plant, every single person plant 3 trees every day, plant 3 trees every day, plant 3 trees. But it didn't really hold. If we start doing, at least if we started and we kept on doing this, I think it would have been cause more good than harm. Cause we're talking about carbon emission, because basically the main cause of this weather climate change is carbon emission. And the only way, cheapest way, and I think the available way, I don't know for your side, but for my side, the available way, the cheapest way is the reforestation. Let me say reforestation. And plant trees, because we inhale oxygen, we bring out carbon dioxide. So if we bring this carbon dioxide outside every day, outside, and we don't get the trees that will receive it and give us the oxygen, it looks like the environment is being polluted every single day. Because when you talk about this carbon emission is from carbon emission is from us. We are still production of carbon emission. Industries, so many industries, like now the world is industrials. We have industries like basically everywhere you go. So industries are producing emission. Cars are producing the carbon emission. Like we are also producing this carbon emission, and the most surviving point of this carbon emission are the trees, who exhale this carbon and gives out us the carbon dioxide, and at least will create a clear ozone for us. And now the trees are being cut down every single day, because the trees are cut down for schools, the trees are cut down for industries, the trees are cut down for houses. So it's like we are reducing our source of oxygen and increasing more carbon to the environment. So obviously there will be a climate change every day, and it's gonna cure ozone layer. We wake up early in the morning, and what you see sun, it's like no winter. Please, if you have winter in your side, you are fortunate. For our side, nothing like winter. Even the rainfall this morning, the next minute is a scorchy sun. Our ozone layer is being erupted. It's been disrupted. Like it's gone. It's been disrupted. It's gone. Like Otilo. Like it's gone. So I think the best way for us, I will never use this solution as a car free, because it's a bad idea. Because basically we do things in our everyday lives. We do things with car. We cannot do without transportation. That's the car, and the best means of transportation is cars. So I'll know it's a bad solution for this climate changes. And I really did enjoy this debate. I really did enjoy this particular speech and this particular topic, because it's a topic that we don't really talk about, but it's an important topic for the environment, and environment is a whole life, because the life we live in. So let me know what you think about this video. Let me know your suggestion, your recommendation, that's a solution that in your opinion you could suggest to this topic. Let me know in the comment section. If you have anything to say about this video, the comment section is all yours. If you are new to my channel, welcome, and don't forget to click on the subscription button for more notifications. Thanks for watching.